Welcome to the exhibition of Zanele Muholi at the Gropius Bau. I'm Associate Curator Natasha Ginwala, and really pleased to be working on this exhibition with...
I'm Yasufumi Nakamori, the Senior Curator of International Art Photography at the Tate Modern, which originated the exhibitions earlier this year.
In this exhibition, we have several series of works of Muholi over nearly 20 years, as well as archival materials and videos that bring together their activist and community practice over the course of their entire career so far. The first series in this exhibition is Being, which is a really intimate series that Muholi has been working on over the years. Some of the early images are from 2006-07. And you have these images that bring together the joy of Black lesbian intimacies. And this is also a space of trust and of mutual love. There's this brilliant image in which Muholi has smeared Vaseline on the camera lens, and that's one of my favorites. Also then, as you move along in the next room, you have the earliest series, Only Half the Picture. And so you have this, in a sense, a kind of transition from that space of trust and bold expressions of desire and togetherness. You have Only Half the Picture that actually creates an awareness and a kind of confrontation where one has to also reckon with the immense amount of brutality and oppression that the LGBTQIA+ community has faced. Even though the South African Constitution allows for same-sex love and union, there is still so much hate crime, which is also highlighted in this series. And we also have some of the archival documents that highlight Muholi's early years. So this is really a way for us to center the early role of not only photography, but its inseparability from activism within their practice. And you see that relationship that Muholi builds, this kind of tension which goes on and runs through the space of this room. When we come through these doors, which is the room that I'm in now, and the room is the series Somnyama Ngonyama, which is Hail the Dark Lioness in Zulu, which is Muholi's mother tongue. Zulu is one of 11 official languages in South Africa. And the role of this language, particularly as we see it also within this series, but also others, that the titles of the photographs are in Zulu. So it's also a way to face the kind of erasure and the erasure of language during apartheid, the ways that the state and colonial powers systematically erased gender plurality, erased ways of being, ways of existing in the world. And that is what Muholi is also trying to do, this immense recovery work, dealing with traumas that are deeply personal and also collective. In this series, Muholi is also dedicating several photographs to their mother, Besta Muholi, who worked as a domestic servant for nearly 4 decades to a white family in South Africa on the height of apartheid. So in this series, you see several images where, for instance, Muholi is using the laundry pins or also using doormats, using these sort of elements of everyday domestic labor. The elements that tire the body down, that burden the body, and through it also thinking how to subversively and playfully create new relationships with these materials. So how to also celebrate the fierce and brave ways in which women of their family and women who are their friends, Black lesbians who have also raised them, how to celebrate and mourn for all of them. And that's what this series really does. Some of these images, particularly one that you see when you enter through the door, is Muholi sort of wrapped in layers of plastic, in which they're also thinking about racial profiling as it happens at airports, when they're traveling the world. What does it mean to be a black body at airport security? So the cling wrap that's on around the baggage is used in layers around their face. So these are little gestures that they use also as modes of creating defiance, rupture, contrast. The room which I'd also like to highlight further is called collectivity. And in the room collectivity, we're looking at the work that Muholi has been doing together with Inkanyiso. Inkanyiso means light, and this is the organization that they have founded and run collaboratively with a range of their friends, peers, members of the community, fellow activists. And their motto is queer activism equals queer media. So they're really looking at the absence of LGBTQIA+ stories in the mainstream media, not only in South Africa, but in so many parts of the world today. And so this creation of storytelling, of building bridges between the personal and the social milieu and states of experience are done meticulously through work of around 15 years and even ongoing. And so those are very special photographs that once again take us close to understanding the core of Muholi's visual activism.
So this gallery represents the work color photographs by Muholi, titled altogether, Queering Public Space. That means Muholi, with Muholi's participants, go to the public space which was once segregated under apartheid. That means actually black colored people were prohibited to be present in certain spaces like a beach, for example. In one instance, Muholi took transgender women and also a beauty contestant who won the Miss Gay South Africa in 2017, Melissa Mbambo, to be at the beautiful beach in Durban, and Melissa themselves actually with a beautiful swimwear with a Miss Gay lesbian sash on their chest, walking proudly on the beach. Muholi shot it with a color film, which actually shows not only vibrancy and also contemporariness to the picture, it also depicts actually a physical beauty and environment of the places Muholi photograph. Color is relatively experimental to Muholi, who was trained primarily in black and white. So I have a sense that Muholi still experiments with color, and but they really know what color can add to their documentary practice. So Brave Beauties is an ongoing series in which Muholi photographed trans women, gender non-conforming, non-binary people. Often they are beauty contestants. In the history of South Africa, there has been beauty contest where often white women competed actually for their beauties. In Muholi's Brave Beauties, Muholi looks at the black beauty contestants, and they're often in their beautiful swimsuits. Muholi and participants collaborate together to create certain poses, but often Muholi is mindful of the certain images which may actually top off the fashion magazine's cover. So not only portraying beauty contestants' beauty, Muholi and participants imagine one of those days black transgender women can be the cover girl. So there's an incredible imaginary space Muholi and participants create together in this series. Also, Muholi made a number of large wallpaper size images for this series. A few of them are exhibited in the exhibition here. So, Faces and Phases are ongoing series which began in 2006. Muholi has photographed more than 500 participants over the years. They actually are friends of friends, they're cohorts. They all are Black LGBTQIA plus community members in South Africa or South African community outside of South Africa.
And in this way, Muholi has also been treating, working with the series and with participants in a way that they do follow-up portraits. And so this idea of the follow-up portrait is quite intriguing, isn't it? Yes. Because it sort of also shows their commitment to continuity, with often in photography, there is a one-time relationship, especially with portraiture. But in this case, you also see the meaning of the phases and the phases in life, the phases of transition in terms of gender relations, also with the body, what is possible to do in terms of also embracing one's identity fully.
You know, Muholi remembered actually, they did not have any photograph of their grandparents, for example. So they realized that there was actually a big lacuna in visual history of Black bodies. So Muholi wanted to fill that gap and wanted to create this, ongoing, future-looking archive of Black queer people. So it's a very ambitious project. And every single photograph has a title. Title is a name of the participant. So historically, when you look at the photograph of Black bodies, they were taken by non-Black people, often for anthropological purposes. Black bodies were presented as a nameless bodies. Muholi wanted to change that. So this project actually also has traced the lives which have passed already. So this actually part, which is expansive presentation of portraitures, will end with 5 portraits of recently deceased Black individuals. Muholi's Faces and Phases ongoing series started with one particular picture Muholi shot in 2007, Buzi Sigasa. She was born in 1981 in Soweto, but she died at age 25 in 2007, who was a victim of corrective rape. She had actually a deep belief in God, and she was lesbian. So she wrote a beautiful poem. It's called Remember Me When I'm Passing, anticipating she was going to die sometime soon from the complication of the illness. Muholi photographed her at the Constitutional Hill in Johannesburg. But when Muholi photographed her, Muholi didn't have any idea whether this was going to be the first image of the important series.
This exhibition includes an expanded glossary that has been created with Muholi's collaborators and also peers from the Tate. This glossary is also a way to navigate a lot of the terminologies and experiences that you will witness in this exhibition. Further, as you leave the exhibition, there's an elaborate timeline, and this is a timeline of apartheid in South Africa, of its history, politically, socially, but also, of course, the history of gender and sexuality as it has impacted Muholi. So you have the biographical once again meeting with the social narratives of their time. And these are ways in which we also hope to create much more knowledge and exchange and awareness around the questions and the world in which Muholi is residing and speaking from and actively creating with.